If we don't have good quality, you would have clicked off of it in 15 seconds. So a minute and 30 seconds is about what you want to grab your people, no longer than 3, just because they're going to lose interest. So I'll tell you a little bit about Soul Hope, what we do. If you have any questions, I know we'll have time at the end for that, right? So Soul Hope is a 501c3, which is a nonprofit status here in the States, and then we're also qualified as what we call an NGO in Uganda. So the whole purpose of us existing is because of a parasite called a jigger. It's not like a chigger that we have here in the States and everybody says that they've had. It's totally different. It's a sand flea that embeds into their skin and lays eggs. Essentially, they think that it's witchcraft. And so a huge part of what we do is education to explain to them that this is not witchcraft. You have not been cursed. Just because you hate your brother does not mean that's why you have these problems. And so by us going in and giving them that education, it's kind of like that light bulb turns on and they're like, okay, I can live, I can do everyday life without this issue that I've lived with my entire life. So we go in, we have over 60 employees in Uganda, all Ugandans, because we want to be able to provide them with a job that is a fair trade wage. Does everybody know what fair trade means? So they get paid what they should be getting paid and not 10 cents an hour. And so those employees are shoemakers, tailors, doctors, nurses, caretakers. I mean, everything is Ugandan ran. We have just 2 full-time American staff over there, and then we have 1 part-time, and then we do have interns that go over there from the States. We actually had 2 interns this past summer from Catawba that went over for 3 months. And so the whole ideal of what we do is all because of one bug, which is the craziest thing that you could ever think. I feel like there's so many nonprofits that encompass so much more, but we focus so severely on one area that it's hard for us to market. It's hard for us to get anyone's attention because we don't deal with this on a regular basis here in the States. We don't even have these. So what is it that I have to offer that's going to make somebody want to donate to us? So that's a huge part of why we have such good videos. I have tons of brochures. If anybody would like brochures, you're welcome to come see our office in Salisbury. A lot of people travel from all over the U.S. just come see our office because they love our Instagram page and everything we do marketing-wise is really, really strong. That's one thing I would say is you should follow our Instagram. Very inspirational stuff on there. But like I said, what we do is all because of a parasite. So we give education and medical relief to the children in Uganda. First, we have to explain this is not a curse. It's just a bug, and we're going to teach you how to remove them. We don't want to go in with anything Americanized and say, hey, let me show you what I just got donated from Novant, and we're going to use this on you, and then we're going to leave you and hope that you can survive. We actually go in and equip them with something that they have access to, which is a safety pin. And so they remove all of their jiggers just by picking them out with a safety pin. You have to do it a certain way to be able to actually remove the jigger in the egg sac. I'm getting kind of medical now, so I'll try to pull away from that. And then we bandaged up their feet, and at the end of our clinics, we make sure that they're walking away knowing how to remove them themselves. They get a little notebook that we pin to their shirt with a clean safety pin, and then everybody's given a pair of shoes at the end of the clinic. Our shoes are made out of recycled jean material and then tire that we actually get in Uganda, and I'll pass that around for everybody to see. So that's kind of just a process through the village. In one day, one clinic, we can remove your jiggers, we can give you the tools to remain jigger free, and we can give you the education that you need to know that you saw 50 kids, and the next time we come back there's going to be 5,000 kids, or 500 kids. 5,000 might be a lot. 500, and then the parents actually come. A huge reason why we work with just children is because adults are going to be embarrassed of this problem, that they have it, that they let their children get it. So it takes us working on their children to show them, A, it's not a curse, and B, that you can take care of it yourself. So that's when the parents see, okay, my kid has been doing this for 6 months, they've removed them from me, they've taught me, now I want to go get a pair of shoes, so I actually go meet these people. Every time they come to a clinic, you have to go through the process of getting your feet washed, jiggers removed before you can get a pair of shoes. We make it very well known that we're not a handout. That's a huge part of the nonprofit world. People don't want to donate to certain nonprofits because they might just give somebody something, when you need to respect that person and they have to earn it in a certain way. So these children are earning their shoes because they're getting their education first and getting the jiggers actually removed from their feet. A lot of times we'll go into a village, which we do every Tuesday and Thursday, and there will be children that have severe cases that we can't treat in a day. For example, I was there when Paul was there, so it's really cool we show this video because I actually met this child. He was from a village that was about 2 hours away from where we are home based in Uganda. And he had his brother had like over 150 jiggers. So we can't treat that in one day. It's just not possible. It would take literally hours to pull all those out and bandage everything up. And so they actually come stay with us at our outreach house, which is where we filmed this and where Paul and all his friends from his village came. And so they come stay with us until they're fully jigger free. And the whole time that they're there, they get 3 meals a day. They're sent home with 2 pair of clothes, new underwear. Not only are they treated for their jiggers, but we teach them how to brush their teeth, because sometimes some of them have never brushed their teeth with anything other than a piece of sugar cane that they eat on. And they think that it's funny because they think that they look like they're brushing their teeth, but they're just eating sugar cane and it's cleaning their teeth. We teach them how to bathe. A lot of them have never been taught how to bathe, and it's all the things that we grow up and we're thinking, well, why didn't their parents teach them that? Well, mom and dad are either dead or trying to figure out how am I going to feed my children at the end of the day. They're not worried about hygiene. So that's a huge reason why we exist, because hygiene's not a huge deal over there. So I don't know, I feel like my 10 minutes is probably up. So that's just a little bit about us.
You want me to turn hand out?
Yeah, so like she said, we'll have questions at the end. If anybody's interested in volunteer hours, that's a huge part of a need that we have here in Salisbury. Yeah.
Okay, and actually, being a volunteer at your organization is something that you can add in your resume, right? And actually, for your LinkedIn project, if you find something about volunteer or community service, add to your account, is actually beneficial to you personally.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much, Holly. So next is Kevin Cook from Vocational Rehabilitation Services of Cape Fear Group Home. Okay, so he will talk a little bit about his organization, and then we'll start your questions. Okay.
How are y'all? Good. So I'm Kevin Cook. I'm the co-founder and regional director with Cape Fear Vocational Services. And also, I'm honored to be Dr. Cook's husband, full disclosure. So happy to be here. She's told me a lot of good things about y'all. My hope for today is I'll tell you a little bit about the work we do and how we can incorporate principles of marketing into that. So I work with a nonprofit, and we contract directly with the government, with Department of Health and Human Services. So a lot of nonprofits are based on charitable giving or donations, and we're actually funded for a specific service by the government. So our marketing is a little bit different. What we essentially have to do is combine human services, which is working with other people, working with people with disabilities, and also market them to employers. And one of the challenges in that is often the person who's really good at working with people with disabilities is not necessarily the best salesman or saleswoman or marketer. And I include myself in that as well. So I started in this field back in 2009 during the Great Recession, and that's when it was a lot harder to market individuals for jobs. It was harder for everyone at that time to get jobs. And we started our vocational services with Cape Fear in 2012. So what I wanted to do in doing that is figure out what didn't work before, and then try to use those examples of failures in marketing to figure out how to do it better. In my old company, I didn't have a lot of autonomy. I was a supervisor, but I wasn't really able to develop our organizational structure or our strategy. So I just kind of had to have our staff do it, market the clients, and then just give them feedback. With Cape Fear, I was provided the ability to develop our structure and our strategy. So one thing that was important to me in doing that was every time we meet a new client at the government office, either I'm there or a member of our management team is there to have what's called an intake. And in a sense, that's marketing too, because at that moment, we're telling our client what to expect from our services. We're talking about our successes, and we're reviewing how things will go. And in that sense, we're marketing to the client and also to our funder. From there, we've developed a job development strategy, and it's kind of a three-pronged approach. One is we have jobs classes each week, and we invite our clients to come to that. And that's where we help both do applications, which, believe me, 3 hours of doing applications is never fun. We've tried donuts, we've tried music. Sitting there in front of a computer for 3 hours is boring. But one thing that does make it better is we really try to teach them how to market themselves. They have to make a good impression to the employer. And so we spend time discussing how to introduce yourself, how to make eye contact, how to accentuate your positives and your strengths. So we do that each week. The next step is job development. And that's where we go out and cold call and show up, sometimes unannounced, at a place of employment and advocate for a specific client and also market what we do and the benefit of it. And one thing I've learned with that is we don't want employers to hire our clients based on a sense of pity or charity. I think some companies that do what we do use that approach and try to say, these are people with disabilities, it's really nice if you would hire them, the government will give you a tax credit. All these things are true. But what I believe is that in marketing, the important thing is to let the person you're marketing towards know the benefit of what you're offering, what you're giving them, not what they're giving you. And so we focus on the positives. We focus on the strength of each client. Every one of us, myself included, we have strengths, we have weaknesses and barriers. With the employer, we focus on the strengths. And if there are barriers or vulnerabilities, we find a way to discuss that in a way that minimizes the problem. And essentially what we offer to employers is a benefit because hiring is exhausting. And as someone that hires people myself, it's exhausting and it's filled with uncertainty. You don't know a lot about the person you hire generally. You can do their background check and call people, but you really get to know them once you hire them. And we take away that guesswork from employers. We have history about this person. We tell them about this person. We work with everyone to someone who just got their PhD and has a mental health disability to individuals that can't read or write. So every approach is different based on that person. And for the lower functioning individuals, they often want jobs like dishwashing or janitorial. And for employers, those are jobs with high turnover because not many people care about those jobs or are proud to have those jobs. And one selling point in our marketing to employers is the folks we work with have overcome a lot of barriers. And so jobs that other people don't care about, they're proud of and they value it. And they'll do their best and they'll generally be there longer than someone else. So we really try to focus on the positives in our marketing to employers. We also do one-on-one, and that's where we take our clients to meet employers that we've met that seem interested in what we do. And that's where the client markets themselves. They demonstrate respect to the employer by shaking their hand, introducing themselves, and it's a non-passive way to be proactive and not just wait around for an employer to call them back. And that approach over the last 6 years has led us to expand into 26 counties and find close to 2,000 jobs. But having said that, I still have problems with what we do. And the reason that is because on a public administration level, over the last 20 years, more public funding has gone from housing, community, or health supports into jobs. And that's really good for me and my company because we get that money. But we get a lot of people that come to us, the most vulnerable members of our community, and they need way more than jobs, and those services aren't as readily available anymore. So in dealing with that frustration, I realized that one of the weaknesses in the nonprofit sector is marketing. That there are services out there that people with disabilities are not aware of because the funding to market them is not there. So we developed a resource guide to give to all of our clients with the understanding that while we may not be able to solve all their problems or address all their needs, we can point them in the right direction. And it's a small step, but it's an important step. And one of my goals over the next couple of years is to expand that marketing approach and collaborate with more nonprofits so we can get the information to the people who need it. One thing with marketing is you're never really done marketing. It's not once you have your customer or your audience, you're done. It's an ongoing process. And so we've been working with the government for 6 years, and we've had a lot of successes. But over the next 3 months, I've personally decided to meet with every government agent that we contract with to review our history and our mission and how we do what we do, to ensure that those relationships stay strong. One thing I want to leave y'all with, and it's something that is really common in the West. I think we have more of an individualistic culture, and I think it's this belief that if we can make ourselves smart enough or strong enough or good looking enough or funny enough, that that's the secret to success. And it's that's how we'll be successful with marketing. We'll be awesome enough that everyone will care about what we're saying. But what I've learned generally is that as far as our self goes, no one really cares. And that sounds very harsh and very cynical, but what I mean by that is the real success in marketing or in communication or many things in life is what you're giving someone. You know, figuring out, you know, if you're marketing to someone, what is their need? What is their desire, and how can I fulfill that? In my job, we don't just convince employers to be nice and hire disabled people. We figure out what they need and we provide them with that. So I think with marketing and with life, really it's about what you have to give. And that's it for now. Thank you.
So that's good. Thank you so much. And that's actually what him and I talk a lot about marketing, right? And marketing is not about what you have, right? Just like those 4 philosophies, it's not what you can produce. It's what the market wants. And you have something that can satisfy their wants and needs. So the secret is to find what they want, what they need, right? And how you can be part of satisfying that wants and need. Whether it's a nonprofit, whether it's a profit, whether it's a product or servicing company. Okay, so for you, when you try to apply for a job, in your mission statement, vision statement, in your objective on your resume, what you have to show is how could you be the benefit to that company, okay? Not that how good you are. How you can fulfill the needs or wants of that company. So that is strategy that you have to find out first, right? Just like the marketer need to find out what consumer wants or need, what types of product, what types of service, how that's gonna satisfy their wants and needs. Then they design or produce products or services to satisfy their wants and needs. Does that make sense? Okay, so any question that you wanna ask, let's start with Holly Teeter. Okay, good.
How did you get started? Like, what made you choose Uganda and the Jiggers of all things? Like, 'cause you know, and like, there's other things in other places. What made you pick?
Yeah. Our founder, who is one of my really good friends, she was researching adoption on YouTube for Ethiopia and came across a video of children getting jiggers removed, and it just laid on her heart, and she said this could be the children that we're adopting, and these kids are the age of our biological kids. And she just took it and ran with it. I thought she was nuts. Someone told me that's how we met, was through this, and somebody was like, oh, I've always volunteered, like through college, I was very active volunteering. I just moved to Asheville, and I said, I need something to do. I need something to put on my resume so it doesn't look like I'm just sitting here out of college not doing anything. And so a friend was like, oh, you should meet my friend, she wants to start a nonprofit, blah, blah, blah. So I thought, okay, I'll go meet with